ちんたらしてっとそのアトムみてえな頭も刈り上げっと俺どうせ早くせい
おい先輩あんた今俺のこの頭のことなんつった？何？サンド
You know, there's some satisfaction when you watch an overpowered character just set things right and teach the bullies a lesson. Somewhere you wish that you could do that to the bullies at school, you know what I mean? So here we are today, taking a look at the moments when OP anime characters taught the bullies a lesson.
やってくれるじゃねえか。いい度胸だ。今ぶち殺す。
There's just something incredibly satisfying about watching a cocky guy getting what he deserves. In Rogue Hero, we're introduced to Kenya, who absolutely loves to terrorize others and make them submit just for fun. He's that guy, you know, the kind who only goes after weaker targets because deep down, he's just a weakling himself. So naturally, Kenya decides to pull his usual stunt on Akatsuki one day at Babel Academy, thinking he can scare him into submission. But boy oh boy was he in for a surprise. You see, Akatsuki is an absolute badass who takes action before speaking. When Kenya tries to bully him, Akatsuki punches him so hard that he literally flies out of the classroom. And just to twist the knife a little deeper, Akatsuki casually comments on how much he enjoys putting bullies like Kenya in their place. You know, because there's nothing quite like bullying the bullies, and we can't forget the moment when Akatsuki nearly crushes Kenya's head, just to drive home the point that messing with him is basically like playing with fire.
俺は今ちゃんとお前のプライドをズタズタにできてるかよ。
待って、これ以上はやりすぎだよ。3秒だけ時間あげるね。主犯は誰？指さして。3、2。
Let's talk about the energetic and bold half of the Orihana twins, and let me tell you, she's got zero chill. While most people might have a filter or some kind of social restraint, Myru decided to throw that out the window a long time ago. You see, her strange personality attracted a lot of attention on her very first day at Reira Academy, and that naturally didn't sit right with the hotshots of the class. They decided to make Myru the prime target of their bullying. But hey, Myru didn't even flinch. When she saw her desk full of graffiti, she zoomed in on one suspect, threatening to pour a bunch of thumbtacks down her throat if she didn't tell her about the girl who did that to her desk. Naturally, the girl had to expose her leader for the sake of her throat. As the leader was about to run for her life, Myru stopped with her attacks and decided to take a stroll with her, discussing what's been bothering her, or maybe teaching her a life lesson that she'll never forget.
私ね、聞いてねえ、私ね、名前も知らないあなたとすっごく仲良くなりたくなっちゃった。
そりゃ刃物刃物死んじゃうよ。分かった、もう負けでいい。僕の負けでいいから痛いよ。Moving on, we have two characters from Chivalry of a Failed Knight, including Ikki and Kirihara, with Ikki being the underdog and Kirihara being the bully. Ikki's known as the worst one at the academy, and he's constantly looked down upon because of his low magical talent. Then, on the other side, you've got Kirihara, a cocky, self-absorbed bully who absolutely loves flexing his superior abilities. He's basically the guy who gets way too much enjoyment out of picking on the underdog just to make himself feel like a big shot. But during his duel with Ikki, he gets what he deserves. Initially, Kirihara tries to intimidate Ikki using his tricks, but Ikki was able to overpower him in a glorious display of power. The cry of desperation by the end of the fight literally gave me chills. Pretty much 2 seconds ago, he'd been laughing maniacally, and now he's crying for his life. The scene leaves you with a sense of satisfaction as Ikki rises above the mockery, showing everyone that even the worst one can take down a bully if they have the guts and the skill.
1ミリ予測とずれたな。僕もまだまだだ。その姿、防御力はどれほどかな？
Do you remember the fight between Makoto, Sophia, and Lancer from Tsukimichi? Well, it seems like Sophia hasn't learned her lesson and has come back to Makoto to fight again. According to Sophia, she's now strong enough to destroy the nation. But you see, we all, including Makoto, know very well that Sophia was exaggerating. So, what does Sophia do? She transforms. Basically, she reveals her dragon scales like she's about to pull off some world-shattering move. Meanwhile, Makoto, he's just chilling inside his mana matter, cool as a cucumber, completely unfazed by her whole whole transformation drama. Now, Sophia gets a bit too full of herself when she manages to destroy Makoto's mana matter. She flashes this smug smile as if she's pulled off the most incredible feat in the history of magic. But you see, Makoto can build it in no time. Makoto then proceeds to fry Sophia and puts her back to her place. You think after the first beatdown, she would have learnt a lesson, but no, these bullies just never seem to get it.
人並みに叫ぶこともあるんだな。殺す。
Now we're going to talk about a guy from Axelworld who embodies twisted malevolence right from the start. Dude had a bad childhood and some trauma from his big brother, which turned him into a twisted person. Transformed into a hardcore burst linker, Seiji abuses his acceleration abilities and gets his kicks from blackmailing other players, basically his favourite hobby. Underneath that charming facade lies a calculating bully who's ready to stab you in the back at a moment's notice. He treats the virtual world of Brainburst as his own personal playground, with everyone else merely toys for him to break and manipulate. But don't worry, Axelworld doesn't shy away from delivering justice to bullies like him. In a moment that's pure satisfaction, Haruyuki steps up and shatters Nomi's inflated ego in Brainburst, pushing him to the point of begging for mercy. It's refreshing to see an anime where the hero doesn't hold back against bullies, serving up the justice that they truly deserve. Next up we have Will from Wistoria, who has zero magic abilities, much like Asta from Black Clover. But you know what he does have? Unbeatable determination and the will to keep moving forward no matter the odds. On the other hand, there's Julius, who thinks of himself as the coolest guy around and looks down upon others as if they're just insects. So what happens when Will faces off against Julius, the Invincible? Armed with nothing but his trusty sword and an indomitable spirit, Will charges headfirst into battle against Julius and his magical clones, and let me tell you, it's a wild ride. The clash is nothing short of spectacular, with Will dismantling Julius and his duplicates in a jaw-dropping display of skill and sheer determination. Seriously, watching him take them apart piece by piece is really satisfying. Then comes the main moment when Will delivers that final crushing punch to Julius. It's an unforgettable scene that leaves you cheering and gasping at the same time. Major kudos to the animation studio for pulling off that stunning one-shot of Will taking down Julius and his clones. His pure visual magic.
今俺のこの頭のことなんつった？何？サンゴ！
Josuke Higashikata, a guy with a fancy pompadour that you wouldn't want to even diss in your dreams. This dude from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, is one of the coolest JoJos you'll ever meet. On the surface, he's this laid-back high schooler who looks like he stepped right out of a 1950s Greaser movie, but don't let that fool you. He has one of the most broken stands in the entire series. In the very first episode of the series, a bunch of bullies managed to piss Josuke off by insulting his hairstyle and making fun of a turtle. We all know JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and the whole turtle core, right? The bullies who thought they'd found an easy target quickly realized they've signed up for a one-way ticket to Oops Town. The moment the ill-fated comment about his hair leaves their mouths, the atmosphere shifts. You start hearing boss battle music and suddenly you know they've messed up. Big time. Then you can hear Josuke's voice changing, and that's when he punches the bully brutally, sending him flying at a distance. Lesson learned. Never joke about Josuke's hair.
俺の頭にケチつけてムカつかせたやつは何者だろうと許さねえ。このヘアスタイルがサザエさんみてえだとは。
Let's talk about the chillest of the chill guys, Maru from Heavenly Delusion. But hey, don't let his appearance fool you. When it's time to get serious, this guy can go from zero to hero in no time. You see, our boy Maru was just minding his own business, enjoying a peaceful game when out of nowhere, a pack of adult bullies decided to crash the party, thinking they'd stumbled upon an easy target. Maru, being his usual laid-back self, tries to keep his cool, but then one of these geniuses has the brilliant idea to break one of Maru's teeth. That, ladies and gentlemen, was their biggest mistake. You know things are about to go south when Maru, who's normally all chill vibes, gives that satisfied smirk. So what happens? Maru goes full action hero mode, taking down the entire crew with ease, leaving them battered and confused. These grown men had no clue they were about to get wrecked by a high schooler. In the recent season of Mushoku Tensei, Rudius comes across a pair of bullies who've been terrorizing the students at the school, and they absolutely love to abuse their authority and constantly bully their fellow students. We all saw these two troublemakers get a serious reality check when Rudius discovered that his prized mini statue of Roxy had been destroyed by none other than Linear and Persina, the two troublemakers. What followed wasn't even a fight, it was an absolute one-sided massacre. Rudius not only taught the bullies a lesson, he also put them in their place in the most humiliating way possible. Both Linear and Persina learnt their lesson after that mortifying experience.
おはようございます。
Let's talk about a very interesting bully from Fire Force named Rekka Hoshimiya, who seems to us like a noble knight at first. However, it turns out that he's actually the villain. Yeah, he comes across as this charismatic hero, but he's got a few screws loose, thinking he's some divine figure sent to save humanity by turning innocent people into infernals. Yeah, you heard that right. He's basically setting people on fire for kicks, all while wearing that self-righteous grin like he's doing the world a favor. You see, when Tamaki learns about Rekka turning people into infernals, she tries to confront him. Poor Tamaki though, she's no match for Rekka's unhinged strength. He overpowers her without breaking a sweat, and as he's about to deal the finishing blow, guess who shows up? Shinra appears with a bang. He drops from above and stomps Rekka to the ground. Rekka got what he deserved, and in the most humiliating way possible. Moving on, we have Ionokoji, who looks like your average laid-back student. What most people around him don't know is that he's hiding some serious brain power. He looks harmless on the surface, but when you tick him off, it's the end. The poor victim of Ionokoji's calm rage was none other than Ryuen, who had been targeting many students. But when he tries to harm Kei, Ionokoji has to step in and give Ryuen the taste of his own medicine. Ionokoji not only destroyed Ryuen's body, he also destroyed his spirit. Imagine you're so brutally beaten down that even the person you took hostage starts to feel sorry for you. That's exactly what happened during this showdown, and it was the first real glimpse we got of Ionokoji's terrifying side. Up until that point, he'd been keeping his cards close to his chest, playing the aloof, low-key guy. And Ryuen, he not only lost the fight, but also lost his pride. He most definitely won't try to mess with Ionokoji again.
自分の中にも恐怖が存在することが
なんだそれは
Teru from Mob Psycho 100 is the perfect example of someone who thinks they've got life all figured out until they don't. When we first meet him, he's basically the self-appointed king of the school, convinced that his psychic powers make him superior to everyone else. When Mob tries to stop Teru from using his powers to dominate others, Teru doesn't take kindly to the advice. Instead of listening, he goes full force on Mob, thinking he can bully him into submission. And that's when Mob unleashes his true powers. And man, does Teru get a reality check or what? The sheer force of Mob's power hits him like a truck, and it's at that moment Teru realizes he's not the big shot he once thought he was. This humbling experience changes Teru for the better. He takes a page out of Mob's book, deciding to adopt Mob's no violence unless absolutely necessary philosophy.
それはモブの自らに対するささやかな抵抗であった。
Ah, Bellamy from One Piece, the guy who went from being a cocky, hyena-laughing pirate to learning one of the hardest lessons on the Grand Line. Bellamy was a proud member of the Don Quixote Pirates, thinking he was hot stuff with his spring powers. His arrogance got the better of him when he laughed at Luffy and Nami for believing in Sky Island. But here's where the fun part comes in. When Bellamy and his minions jumped Luffy in the bar, Luffy didn't even bother fighting back. Why? Because Luffy knew Bellamy wasn't worth the effort. Luffy was all calm and cool, letting Bellamy throw his weight around until the showdown in the streets. Luffy ends it with one punch. One beautifully satisfying clean knockout that wiped that smug grin off Bellamy's face and left him crashing to the ground like a broken spring toy. Bellamy truly was all bark and no bite. Next on the list is Rinne from Vivid Strike, a girl that you just would never want to mess with. Sure, she's got that sweet angelic face, but behind it lies a walking, talking disaster in the form of a schoolgirl that you never want to bully. She's a martial arts prodigy, and when she steps into the ring, her opponents usually end up reconsidering their life choices. Her journey to becoming an unstoppable force was fueled by some serious pain. Bullied as a kid, she was once weak and vulnerable, but that all changed when she decided to turn the tables on her tormentors. She beat them up brutally and gave them a taste of their own medicine. Those bullies had it coming because they chose to bully Rin, knowing fully well how strong she is. Lesson learned: never bully a middle school girl who could easily be a future Mortal Kombat champion in anime.
大切なものを、約束を何も守れなかった。私が弱いのがいけなかったんだ。
Gomari, the vexations of a shut-in vampire princess, is the ultimate definition of accidental chaos. I mean, she's vampire royalty and naturally she should be terrifying. Instead, Gomari would much rather stay in her room, sip tea and avoid all forms of social interaction like the true shut-in that she is. She's basically the poster girl for "I didn't choose the vampire life chose me." And then we've got Millicent Blue Knight, the literal queen of school bullies. This girl takes tormenting to a whole new level. She has literally no qualms about killing other students for fun, and as if her bullying wasn't bad enough, Millicent makes the biggest mistake of her life when she messes with the wrong vampire and takes Gomari's maid hostage. After awakening her powers, Gomari proceeds to absolutely annihilate the bully and shows her her place. Remember, the quietest ones always have the biggest outbursts.
これで勘弁してやる。
今のを貴様らの顔面にくれてやろうか。二度と鏡を見られない顔になるだろうな。
Gurugaya from Little Busters has two personalities. On the one hand, she's cool, calm, and collected, always looking like she's got it all figured out. But beneath that composed surface, Gurugaya's got a playful side that's ready to stir up some mischief whenever the opportunity arises. And we get to see her absolutely terrifying side when she corners two bullies who'd been bothering her for a long time. Not only does she reveal evidence of their bullying, she also completely destroys the door behind her with a single overpowered kick. Now, that would scare the shit out of anyone, to be honest, right? Well, the bullies, they took one look at the door, probably had a vision of their faces getting the same treatment, and bolted like their lives depended on it. Moral of the story: it's one thing to mess with someone, but if you cross someone like Gurugaya, get ready to feel some serious pain.
田舎者はおとなしく引っ込んでなって。
誰の思いも背負ってないやつが邪魔してんじゃねえ。
In Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury, we've got two groups who couldn't be more different if they tried. The Spatians and the Earthians, with Spatians being superior and Earthians being inferior in Spatians' eyes, of course. Our Earthian girls include Suletta and Chuatri, aka Choo-Choo. You see, the reason they call her Choo-Choo is because she hits like a train. Don't believe me? Well, let me show you a scene where Choo-Choo is just sick of the space bullies who've been giving Suletta a tough time. Without wasting a moment, she goes to the bullies and punches one of them super hard. She really sent that girl to the Shadow Realm because she never got up during the entire scene. And the second bully, after she accidentally punches Suletta, Choo-Choo KO punches her. I don't know why, but that punch was just flawless. The sound it made alone was enough to make the people back home beam with pride. That's exactly what those bully girls deserved. Mahito from Jujutsu Kaisen is a walking nightmare that you don't want to run into no matter what happens. Mahito's whole vibe is a special kind of creepy. He manipulates souls, twisting people into grotesque forms with his idol transfiguration technique. What really makes him insufferable is his total disregard for human life. He sees humans as experiments, nothing more. From the start, Mahito got under Itadori's skin, especially after he killed Junpei in one of the series' most heartbreaking moments. What started as a mission to exorcise a cursed spirit became personal for Itadori. Mahito, thinking he could toy with Itadori, had no idea how far Itadori would go to absolutely crush him. The ending scene of this fight is so satisfying. Just seeing Mahito scream in fear and looking at Yuji so pathetically always makes my day. That's what he gets for messing with Yuji, and I bet Sukuna was smiling the whole time this played out. Mahito really needed to be humbled down. And with that, we're wrapping up this list. Are there any moments that we've missed? Let us know in the comments. You can also check out this video on the legendary main character entrances in anime. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to be updated on my videos. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.
ほらほら